A car approaching a flooded roadway in Arabella, New Mexico is shown. Text on screen reads, "Being prepared. Flooding." Video by the National Weather Service in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Royce Fontenot, Senior Service Hydrologist, appears on screen in front of a stucco background. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration logo and the National Weather Service logo are behind him on the left.
Hi, my name is Royce Fontenot, and I'm the Senior Service Hydrologist with the National Weather Service in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Floods are the most common natural disaster in the United States and the leading cause of weather-related fatalities. Most flood-related fatalities happen when people in their car underestimate the power of water. It does not take much water to sweep you or your car away. Just 6 inches of fast-moving water can knock you down. 1 foot of swift-moving water is enough to sweep your vehicle away. However, no matter the depth of the water, it's important to never drive through water. It's difficult to determine what is underneath the water or if the road has even been washed away. Turn around, don't drown.
A car approaches a flooded roadway in Arabella, New Mexico. The text, "Turn around, don't drown," appears on screen. A road in Portales, New Mexico that is closed due to flooding is shown. Text on screen reads, "What is the difference between a flood watch and warning?" Royce appears on screen again in front of a stucco background. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration logo and the National Weather Service logo are behind him on the left.
The first step to protecting yourself during a flood event is to understand the difference between a watch and a warning.
An example of a flash flood watch in effect for west central New Mexico appears on screen. A flash flood watch is a zone-based product. It is issued hours to even days before an event.
A flood or a flash flood watch is when conditions are favorable for flooding to occur. It does not mean that flooding will occur, just that flooding is possible.
An example of a flash flood warning that was in effect for Albuquerque and Rio Rancho on July 23, 2018, appears on screen. A flash flood warning is a storm-based warning in the form of a geographic polygon. It is issued minutes to hours in advance of flooding.
A flash flood warning is issued when a flash flood is occurring or imminent. A flash flood is a sudden, violent flood that develops rapidly, sometimes in just minutes. It is even possible to experience a flash flood in areas not immediately receiving rain. A flood warning is issued when flooding is occurring or imminent. A flood warning is different from a flash flood warning in that it can last over a period of days, whereas flash flooding generally occurs within a few hours.
2 people and their car are caught in a flash flood in Clovis, New Mexico. Text on screen reads, "What should I do if a flood warning is issued for my area?" Royce appears on screen again in front of a stucco background. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration logo and the National Weather Service logo are behind him on the left.
When a warning is issued, seek higher ground. Never try to cross flooded areas. The water may be deeper and moving more swiftly than it appears. If your car gets stuck in a flood, do not open the door. Try to climb out the car window if possible. If you're in your house, move to a higher floor and take your cell phone. However, do not go to the attic or another room with no windows. This will ensure that you do not become trapped.
A flood moving over mountainous terrain in Pecos, New Mexico is shown. Text on screen reads, "What are the different types of flooding?" Royce appears on screen again in front of a stucco background. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration logo and the National Weather Service logo behind him on the left.
There are different types of flooding, such as burn scar flooding, flash flooding, river flooding, snowmelt, and dam and levee failures. Burn scar flooding is one of the most common types of flooding in New Mexico. After wildfires occur, the burned ground becomes hydrophobic, meaning that it can no longer absorb the water. The water that falls on the burn scar runs off rapidly, increasing the risk for flash flooding, especially for steep terrain. As water runs downhill through a burned area, it can pick up large amounts of ash, soot, burned timber, and other debris that can damage anything in its path.
A flash flood from 2016 occurring on the Doghead wildfire burn scar is shown. Royce appears on screen again in front of a stucco background. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration logo and the National Weather Service logo are behind him on the left.
The time to prepare for a flood is before a warning is ever issued. Pay attention to the weather forecast and have a plan of action. Have a way to receive warnings such as no weather radio, the wireless emergency alerts on your cell phone, or via your local TV or radio stations. If you live in a vulnerable area, plan in advance and move away from the area before the rain begins. There may be very little time to react once the rain does start. Staying aware of the changing weather conditions and following these preparedness tips will help ensure that you and your loved ones stay safe during a flood. Thanks for joining us today.
Flood at Pecos River in Fort Sumner, New Mexico is shown. Text on screen reads, "Being prepared. Flooding." Video by the National Weather Service in Albuquerque.